Despite what you may think about this game, Sega's Virtua Fighter is the mother of all 3D fighting games and made rounds in the industry in 1993. This game became the blueprint for many fighters such as Tekken, Dead or Alive. Fast forward and the series has not had a new game since 2007, with their last being Virtua Fighter 5 Ultimate Showdown. So for a game with such a legacy, why hasn't it had as much push as its competitors? I'm going to discuss 4 reasons as to why this could be the case. If you're interested in this topic, be sure to like, comment, share, subscribe. It could be argued that Virtua Fighter isn't a staple fighter due to Sega not being a market leader. Amongst controversial decisions, Sega of Japan haphazardly decided to launch the Sega Saturn in May 1995 for the US market and July 1995 for the EU market, months ahead of schedule to outdo the upcoming PlayStation console by Sony. The Sega Saturn had already done well in Japan, but the PlayStation in Japan was gradually starting to outsell the Saturn. This self-sabotage harmed Sega's reputation as a console provider and as a business. Due to the Saturn's disastrous launch and surprise release dates, it gave Sega Saturn 9 million overall, compared to Sony PlayStation's 100 million units sold. This caused Sega to completely halt their console division in 2001 and no longer focus on hardware, meaning that they were now a publisher. Now you could say that Virtua Fighter was not necessarily affected by this mess. They already had an arcade presence and the game actually sold 1 million for the Sega Saturn. If we're talking about exclusivity, this would mean that Virtua Fighter 4 would eventually make its way to other platforms. This was a first for Virtua Fighter as it was released on a system that was not their own. Sony's PlayStation 2. It's crazy how things come full circle. Released in 1994, Virtua Fighter 2 went on to sell 40,000 arcade units globally and became one of Sega's best-selling titles. Virtua Fighter was successful. However, by 2001, arcades started to decline overseas. This was seen with the rollout of Virtua Fighter 5. They isolated themselves from other arcade markets and focused on the Japanese player base. While it did get an arcade release in the UK and the US in 2006, the Japanese market received numerous updates for Virtua Fighter 5, with their latest titled Virtua Fighter Esports released in Japan in June 2021. Despite a decline in Japanese gaming arcades in recent years, and beta tests becoming the norm, will Virtua Fighter remain in the arcade space? This may be a bit controversial. Another reason is possibly because of bad netcode. If you want to know more about netcode, here's this video from Core Gaming which I highly recommend. This relates to my initial point about Sega's insular approach to Virtua Fighter. Players have criticized Virtua Fighter 5's Ultimate Showdown for bad netcode, inefficient matchmaking, and lag for users outside of Japan. In an interview with 4Gamer, Ultimate Showdown producer Seiji Aoki confirmed that despite the fact Sega of America suggested they used rollback netcode before its release, the game used the same delay-based P2P method from the PS3 and 360 versions of the game from 2012. With little to no regard for the overseas market or players, they are clearly uninterested in making this change. So if the next game does not get rollback netcode, you know why. Lack of innovation for the series? You be the judge. In the same interview, according to him, internal opinions were divided. Sega believes that if Virtua Fighter is not innovative, there is no point in necessarily releasing a new title. To be fair, the series has been typecasted with the term innovation, and it seems that they haven't been able to innovate the game for a long time. This stance may hinder the future of the series. And that's it, guys. Those were my 4 reasons why I think Virtua Fighter doesn't get the push compared to its competitors. Other than Tekken announcing their 8th game, I am quite concerned for the future of 3D fighting right now. Do you think they should have a new game for the new era, or should it just stay in the past? Let me know in the comments below. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in another video.